Hey,
tip
welcome to
for
the
you.
show. I'm here today with Will Black, the head of Sharing the Credit. How you doing today, Will?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? Tired? Yes, you're tired.
I couldn't be better if I was twins, let me tell you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hey,
No,
Will,
I'm good.
tell us a
I'm
little bit
good.
about yourself and what it is you do with Sharing the Credit.
Sure. Um, well, I have the best job in the world, and that includes Santa Claus and Superman included in that list. I'm not striking them out. Um, I fund nonprofits, right? And what we really do is we show them how these businesses, how they can give to them into perpetuity over and over, unrestricted funds every day, every day, every day. And when I hand out these checks, there's a glow in people's eyes and they get used to getting the check real fast. Becomes very budgetable. When you know you're getting a certain amount of money over and over and over, and it can grow. Um, that's what we do. It's a good job to have. I love doing
What exactly is Sharing the Credit?
it. Sure. Sharing the credit is the short answer is this: every time you meet anybody, right? All we carry around is plastic anymore. Cash was always king, but pretty soon that's going to be in a museum. Just pictures of dead presidents. No, anytime you meet anybody, we go into a store. It can be a physical store, it can be online, right? We pull out our debit card, we pull out our credit card, and we swipe it, we ding it, we tap it, we do whatever. Well, there's a collection of fees that come out of that business, right? MasterCard Visa is not doing that for free. At the end of the month, they take a series of fees, and one of those fees, Travis, one of those fees does not go to MasterCard. It doesn't go to Visa. It goes where? It goes back into the system, generally to a bank. But I legally, with IRS's blessing, can redirect it and give it to a nonprofit, a 501. Ta-da! And that's the magic. Nothing up my sleeves. We just we turn that business into a money-making machine for charity.
You
Who
see,
doesn't love it?
I love this because this is one of the, I don't know how it's possible, but it's one of the best kept secrets in the nonprofit world. We've actually used this when I was on the board of the Shine Foundation to partner with a local junior college. And every time someone swipes a credit card, so whether they're buying books for the semester, buying a sweatshirt for dad, buying a bumper sticker, buying a football ticket or a hot dog at a football game, portion of every single swipe gets processed and it goes to some kind of payment processor, some kind of merchant processor, and that can go, instead of going to a bank, can go to a nonprofit. And when we ran the Shine Foundation off this thing, it fully funded everything that we were doing, which means we got off the fundraising cycle and we get to enjoy seeing our donors and throwing friend-raisers instead of fundraisers and
Right,
knowing
right,
each and every month that we were funded.
right. Well, I mean, that's the entire point, right? As we say to the business, as we say to the charity that knows these businesses, does a business want to fund a bank? They want to fund your charity. They know you, they believe in you now. In the business world and the charity, it's kind of opposite. When you are starting a business and you're doing this and you're trying, and you're bootstrapped and you're really in the salad days, you need little extra money coming in because you're so busy in the business that you can't work on your business, right? Isn't that the pain? And that's proverbial. Get on YouTube, get on LinkedIn. You're going to see that all day long. A charity is the exact opposite. A charity wants to be working in the mission, but they're pulled out of their mission to go raise money to try to get right back in the mission, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the worst thing ever. It is the worst thing ever. I've seen charities. We have these charities, and they are strapped and they're struggling and they can't find donors. And when they turn this around, all of a sudden there's money coming in. They're not worrying about that on their day-to-day. When they get to go whole hog into the mission, your community, your state, the country, that's when, we really see the blessings come out. I don't want these guys sitting there struggling to raise money. I want them to spend very tiny little bit of time raising money, and then I want to get them out there doing their cause. That's a real Superman. You talk about this, you talk with these guys on the shows. I'm a capitalist freak. I get that. But nonprofit people make us look like chumps. I know nonprofit guys, men and women, that put 60, 70, 90 hours a week into their cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your average capitalist would be a billionaire by the time they're, almost out of school, if they were putting in 90-hour weeks. They make us look like chumps, and they do this because they suffer for their cause. They believe in it so deeply. I need those people to be in their cause working.
Yeah, suffering for your cause is not required. When I've talked to thousands of nonprofits by now, it's got to be at least over 1,000. I always get the same things, and I always ask them the same question, like, "Hey, what are you struggling with right now?" And don't say money, and then they fumble around what to say because money is almost always their number one answer. Money is not the problem. Money is a symptom of the problem.
Mhm.
And it's the symptom of I don't have good fundraising practices in line. And when I look at comparing fundraisers to the military, I can picture one job in the military that's the same as fundraising, and that's recruiter. Recruiter, it doesn't matter how many people you got to us in the military.
It's the same
in
job.
January.
Yeah.
It's February now. Where's my quota? And it's the same with fundraising. If I've got to raise $10,000 a month to function, $120,000 a year, right? When January is done and I've got that 10 grand, I can breathe for what, half a day. And then a whole new game starts out over in February, and a whole new game starts over in January. And I've talked about this before on the show. Stop doing that. Find ways to make recurring donations. And that's why I was excited to have Will Black on today, because the only thing he does is recurring donations. See, when a business is running, you have all these business expenses that have to be paid in some form or fashion to keep the ship moving. And then after that, you go to them and say, "Please, sir, can we have some dollars?" And they see what they have left over and maybe toss you a couple of bucks. What we're talking about is changing some of that back end business process to give them cheaper rates for credit card processing, and out of the back end function, that's where sharing the credit comes in, and they give you part of that fee. So it's not coming out of their "we made money" budget. It's coming out of "we've got to pay this budget." And who doesn't like saving money and supporting a cause at the same time? It's a no-brainer.
What are the two most expensive things that a nonprofit can do, right? They can throw the big event that often eats up 80% of the money it made just to be able to throw it in the first place, to keep 20%, right? The golf tournament, the banquet, the light the night fun run, whatever you're doing. And it's time expensive. It eats up man hours, mission man hours, being in your mission man hours. I talk to nonprofits all day long. They say 3 to 6 months of their fiscal year is running the event that happens, that they try to get this burst of. And so then it's what happens. Or they go out and they're sending people out and they're saying, "Hey, can we have 1,000? Can we have 5,000? Can we have 10,000? And the moment you get that check, you don't get to come back for at least 12 months. And after a while, if you come back every 12 months saying, "Can I have another check, sir? Please, sir, can I have some more?" Then after a while, that door might close, right? Or, "We gave you 10,000 last year. We want to share the love. We need to give it to somebody else." That's insane. A group we've talked about before was my little, not one of my little nonprofits, and they jokingly call themselves a local nonprofit, right? These guys. And that's their joke, because they say, "You drive 30 miles in any direction, nobody's ever heard of us," right? And that's a definition of a local nonprofit. And these guys, they couldn't find major gift givers, right? They couldn't get people to give them 10 grand, and they weren't even huge. Their stretch goal for the year, their stretch goal is, they said, if we could just get 80,000 in donations, right? So nothing even particularly huge. And we said, "I've got it. Let me help you. Let me explain this to you. All these businesses, they're out there. They're every time somebody comes in swiping cards, they could be giving it to you. It's going back into the system. You've heard me say this. Well, we don't have a lot of companies. Oh my gosh, I hear that you're right. So all of your donors won the lottery. No, they either own a company or they work at a company, right? So we show them how to do this. We give them the verbiage, we give them the collateral. They start farming this out via their newsletter, via their website, and a couple of people talking some of their businesses. Without without getting any new donors, they converted 19 businesses, right? That's a finite list. That's not a huge number of things. Those businesses do collectively $2 million in sales a month, pretty much, and they donate month after month, year after year, $11,000 a month or 120K plus a year over and over to that charity. My only problem, Travis, is they stopped doing it. I mean, they didn't
stopped
stop
asking.
They stopped asking. They exceeded their dollar amount. You crazy person, keep going. But keep going, you know. But they got it. And here's the thing. Now they're not doing banquets. They still reward people. They still have their newsletters. They still have little informal get-togethers, yada yada. But it's on a whole different scale because what did we say? They're in mission. They get to put out. They get to put out social media like it's nobody's business. We are in the game. We're in the game. We're in the game. This is what we did yesterday. This is what we're doing tomorrow. Come join us. This is what we do. I don't need a check. I need boots on the ground. Come help us get in mission. Help us do the work we're doing. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't love that?
I definitely love it. What it does is it solves a lot of problems. Travis, you don't understand. We don't have time to host our own podcast. We're too busy not making money in all these other areas. Right?
Don't tell me how to make money.
Don't tell me how to make money. We don't have time to podcast. We don't have time to get on social media. We hardly have time to show up to feed the homeless when it's our day that week because we're scrambling for money. When the money's taken care of, you don't have to worry about, are we going to be able to keep this volunteer? Turn them into a paid employee because you now have $11,000 plus coming in each and every month that you can depend on, that you can budget for, and you can start building off of. Oh yeah, Travis, I would love to do this stuff full time, but my job takes 60 hours. I'm doing this nonprofit stuff. It's like, well, yeah, at what point do you get to pay yourself for the nonprofit? Oh, I can't do that. Oh my God, why not? Who told you couldn't get paid? Can you imagine if you got paid and that 60 hours a week you were working in your business, at your job could now be 60 hours that you're dedicating towards your cause, that thing that gets you up in the morning, that thing that keeps you rolling, that thing that has you on fire so much you're willing to put 40 hours plus above the 60 hours you were working. Can you imagine if that was your full-time paycheck and now you could be in it, actually doing it all the time? I talked to a guy who's helped more than 40,000 veterans, but I couldn't talk to him until after 6 p.m. after he got off work.
Oh my gosh. I didn't what would he be able to do if he could do 9 to 5 on his veterans, right?
Absolutely.
That's where he needs to be.
Absolutely.
He'd be a 250,000 veterans. He's holding himself back.
See, the problem is
we all know where that came from.
There's a lot of people out there that are working in this and they feel like they have to pay penance, that somehow it's guilt driven, that you have to suffer for the cause. Who on earth convinced you of that, and why are you holding on to that as true? Please, dear God, let that go.
Well, grant writers for one, right? We know where this came from. A few years ago, we've all seen news stories, and they're taking money and they're spending it in areas, and we got the halo or the little devil horn scale. How much of the money you're raising is really going into your cause, right? And so now, what is the number one blocking factor of all grant money? No operating costs, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen on grant forms that it says all your employees should be volunteer. Are you telling me that the American Cancer Society runs on volunteer? St. Jude's Hospital, all the doctors and surgeons there are all cancer specialists, all volunteers. It's naive, it's silly, it's downright evil. You're blocking people from being able to do the good they need to do. right? That's it. What my favorite thing is, I've got two favorite things about this is one, when a business ends up doing this, besides the fact that they say, I love this, I've never felt like such an adult. It's when a 70-year-old, man says, I feel like such an adult. Sorry, you've been an adult for a long time. He's like, no, but I feel responsible. I feel financially responsible. I'm giving these monies to a cause. I've been taking cards for years, right? Well, it goes on something I love. It goes out in unrestricted funds. When you tell your chief fundraiser, your development chair, the 300 names you've got for those guys, right? That this money is the same as getting a cash donation. They're doing chest bumps, they're high-fiving, they're bouncing around the room because I said, this is not a grant. We had an organization when they got their first $4,000 check for a month, 1 month period of time, they called us and they said, what are we allowed to spend this on? And our answer is real simple. I don't care. I'm not a board member, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you feed the homeless, I would suggest putting it into food. If you help puppies, and if you don't love puppies, I think your soul is a dry, empty husk, but I'll pray for it. But if you help puppies, you're going to get to go do more puppies. If you're going to work with veterans like that guy, you need to be full-time veterans. I mean, that guy who's helped 40,000 veterans, he's holding himself back with a day job. You need to introduce me to that brother, because he's doing some real good. But here's the second blessing. Besides them, they get it. It's unrestricted funds. The fact that business gets to put on their door the MasterCard Visa door sticker, and with the charity's permission, but they always give us permission, right? That now says, instead of MasterCard Visa, Discover what have you. What does it say? It says MasterCard Visa, your business here supports blank. And that charity gives us permission. It's got their logo. And all of a sudden, why are there 30, 40, 50 businesses in this town that all say they're supporting this local no-kill shelter? Because people love puppies, Travis. Right?
Yeah.
Why in Virginia, and they've got this big base there, and all around I see this guy's, thing who does 40,000 veterans, MasterCard Visa, your business here supports. This GI Joe who's out there doing the real hero work, and he's working with the other veterans. He's a veteran support group. He's sugar daddy for the veterans. I want to be his sugar daddy. That's what they get to do. And I'll tell you a funny thing about it, Travis. In the history of the company, we have never had a business turn away the door sticker. Never. Perfect score. And you're like, why would they? They know the charity. They love the charity. They've been given to them years. Now they're just redirecting the fee to them. They're like, no, I want that brand on my front door. I want you to stamp it on there and say, I'm the good guy, right? When you come here, you're automatically supporting veterans. You're automatically supporting puppies. You're automatically feeding the homeless. You know what it's not? Would you like to add $1? You know what it's not? You want to round up? No, I want my slice of pizza and my Coke, and I want to go sit down, right? I don't want to be pelted with that. It's invisible to the client. You're just going to pay MasterCard Visa these fees. You might as well give one of those fees to that cause you love. I'm going to talk to this guy that helps the veterans. That he's my best friend. He doesn't know it. We're about to be BFFs. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got this thing. Like, why would, other than getting to put a sticker on a door, why would a business actually say yes?
Well, at the end of the day, 99% of all businesses are introduced to our team, right, by a nonprofit, by a charity right now. Because at the end of the day, here's the secret Travis well knows. Not a great secret. 80% of funding in the US for charity comes from one source, and that is small businesses. It's not Home Depot, it's not big box, it's not Apple, it's the little guy. He's the wheel horse. When you go get your oil change, when you go get your pizza, when you go buy a car, wherever you're going, those are the guys. And I was told by a woman years ago, I will never forget this, credible businesswoman, smart as a daggum whip. And she looked me straight in the eye and she said, "Will, my business is not the only thing that inspires me." And you want to talk about scales falling from your eyes. I'm like, you go, girl. I'm going to use that forever. Work isn't the only thing that inspires me. You go to any business, they're already giving you somebody. The point is, how are they going to get? Right? If you're going to help these veterans, if you're going to feed the homeless, if you're going to help puppies, if you're going to build homes, right? Whatever it is you're doing, how would you rather do it at your business? At the end of the month, after I pay all my bills, I can take money off my bottom line. I call this blood money because I could put it back into my business. I can take it and put it into my family. But instead, man, I got to really believe in you. If I take that little bit of that leftover and I give it to my cause, I'm your high pillar. I am true blue. Or, hey, Travis, you have a business, and every time somebody comes and swipes a card without you ever writing a check, you just tell me who your charity is over and over. Every time they swipe a card, month after month, it's boring, it's invisible, but it gives. You and I have talked about that before. What do they give? They generally give 4 to 5 times what they normally would give if they write a check, because it's working.
Well, they wouldn't sign up unless it was a good business decision for them. Unless it put dollars back in their pocket, they wouldn't sign up.
They have to save money. No. It's got to be a blessing for them. The third business we ever were introduced to by a nonprofit, right, I've told you that one, was $1 million a month car dealership. Pray for them, right? As they struggle through.
As they struggle through these tough times.
As they struggle through, that's their small source of income. I mean, they know their money, they know everything that's happening. But an ethical company, as no matter what all the movies and TV shows say, most businesses are very ethical people. And they said, "God bless you, and thank you for coming out. Tell us how to help our charity." Wait a minute. Couple of ground rules. One, if this costs your charity anything, or if you had to pay extra, if you had to pay a premium in order to enact this, tell me to leave. Because it would literally be cheaper for you to keep writing a check. I need to make this a blessing for you first. If we can save you money, then please consider making this charity that introduced me to you, right, your automatic donation target. And they're like, no, we believe in the charity. You showed me how to save money, and I'm on board. No, everybody saves money. We have a little saying that's in our industry as a whole, and that is, if you've had your merchant account for 12 months, you're overpaying. You need somebody that can show you how you're overpaying. We teach them how they overpay. We even say, here's how to keep an honest man honest. We'll teach you a little equation. You don't have to have a math degree. You can do this in 90 seconds a month, and you'll know where your merchant account is. You'll know if you're overpaying. Use it to keep us an honest man honest. But, we still had that $1 million a month car dealership and a couple that are bigger than that. And I'll tell you what they say. They say, we'll never leave. As long as you keep our rate low and you keep giving the money that you just go back into the system to this thing we love, our cause, what we bleed for, we will be with you forever. Your grandchildren will be processing for our grandchildren. And that's what we want.
So how much did the dealership save every year?
$30,000.
That's like a new car.
He said the big GM, this stoic son of a gun. He was very, he wasn't volunteering anything. He's playing poker. He's keeping the cards very close. He got 30,000 a year. That's a car. That's a whole car. I said, it's a car a year. It's a car every year. But the exciting thing was what really got him salivating was he's like, okay, I love that. But when we showed him, he said, but you would donate about over $100,000 a year, probably closer to about 120. Right now they're donating 130,000 plus a year. Their
from
charity track
from the back end.
Back end.
Not writing checks.
Nobody writes a check. Never write a check. Travis, their charity has never complained, but I'm just saying their, their charity has never complained. Now, here's a great question. How much did they give to charity before sharing the credit?
Okay. I'll ask you know what? I'm in charge here. I'll ask the questions. How much did they donate before sharing the credit?
Yearly, no matter what, because they're very generous, $20,000 to $25,000 a year.
Yeah, that is very generous.
It is. It is off the bottom line, off the pocket money they could be putting back in advertising, taking home, doing whatever. They gave $25,000 a year, and they gave mostly to one group, but they will also hopscotch, and that's the problem. Charities have trouble budgeting. Oh, I got $5,000, but I can't get it next year, right? That's now it's $120,000 a year. Right now they're on track for $130,000 for this year. So growth.
So they're able to 4, 5, 6x their giving, saving money in the process. In fact, they saved more than they were giving. If they still wanted to give off the bottom line, they could. I'm not saying they will or won't. I don't know what people are going to do, but they could have more money to give if they really cared that much about it. Yeah.
They really do. And they're very sober about it. They say, we don't see it that you gave us or saved us 30,000. We feel like you saved us 150,000 because you're writing off checks that, I mean, save money, found money is money earned, right? Old Benjamin Franklin. They're like, where's that $130,000 come from? They're like, we're really good at math. And I said, sir, it's a fee you've always paid. You just paid it back into the system. And it was all lumped in. Think of it as almost like a little tax. But the IRS says, feel free to give it to a charity. We'll help you give it to a charity. If this guy, the person that, you're using to do that, is so set up. And that's it. That's what we do. I love giving to that. But guess what? You don't have to be $1 million car dealership to give. Again, the local nonprofit, they get $120,000 a year, right at the same amount. And what do? They just went out, they found 19 small businesses, and they give the same dollar amount. Little more legwork, and then they stopped. Sons of guns. Get back out there,
Well, when I think of organizations that are 501s, something like does it have to be a 501c3 specifically? Can it be a 501c6?
Absolutely. We're doing work with the chambers of commerce. It's a little more paperwork on the back end for me. And when we talked to our first couple of chambers, do you see what I did there? My fifth grade English teacher would be so proud of me. Chambers of commerce. Not chamber of commerces. No, it's a mother's-in-law. She'd be so proud. I'm gonna go write it. The first couple of chambers we spoke to, they were like, we'd actually heard of this, but we're a C6, and normally this doesn't pertain to us. And I'm like, come inside, get in the pool, the water's fine. It's a little more paperwork on our side, but as long as you're set up and you're fine, you're a civic organization, we can absolutely do it.
So when I think of that, right, I know like a chamber of commerce charges all these businesses fees to be part of their organization. They could, in theory, I've been thinking about this, they could charge these people nothing to sign up. As long as they signed up through you and they were getting donations from the business back end, they wouldn't need to pay a fee because they'd be giving more on the back end than the fees they could ever collect would be.
Yeah. Your average chamber is paid by a business chump change. I mean, it's $100 to $300 a month, depending on, the size or the area you're in. I mean, it's nothing. We have businesses give $100, $300, $1,500, $2,000 a month over and over and over. For a chamber, some chambers, would literally be able to 12x their clientele. If they just got, instead of $300 a year, they got $300 a month over and over and over. Let me tell you something. A chamber is the unsung hero of the work. All right. They do so much work. They train people. They train people to come in and say, no, you can open a business, Travis. Here, come in. We've got classes. We'll show you how to do it. They often work with the tourism boards, right, to bring more people, more money into your area. They need a little bit of props, right? They're not always as appreciated as much as. And when I first joined a chamber, I thought it was going to be expensive, and it was $150 a year. And I'm like, how do you survive? How do you live? We started working with some Hispanic Latino chambers of commerce. And I was surprised at what, and they have to do it, but often without city money. Big city grants and donations and fundings often go out to the major chambers, but generally doesn't go to your little Hispanic Latino chamber because they might be a fifth or a sixth of the size. Go figure. I just talked to a group that has 3,000 businesses in their little Rolodex. That's not a small chamber to me. If they have 10% of their people flip over, and they do so many trainings. I'll tell you a secret right now. Latina business owners are opening businesses 4-to-1 compared to your average in any other metric you want to look by, right? And they tell them, listen, you can own a business. Come in, we'll give you a class, we'll show you how to do it. And they're opening their doors. And whatever anybody's politics are going to be, these are tax-paying citizens. Legal, supposed to be here, paying taxes. Everybody's happy. And if they open businesses, the world's a better place.
So why would anyone ever say no to this?
They had a bad relationship with their daddy. No. I had, we have one of 3 different answers. One, my brother-in-law, my best friend, my yada yada has my merchant account, right? Great. Don't let that person retire off you. Call us every 6 months, and for free, we're going to do your numbers, and we're going to give you the red ink, just like we did with that car dealership, right? And you stay with them for as long as you need to. And I had somebody do that for 3 years. And every 6 months they called in. I think it literally was the brother-in-law, which is why we always say that. And he finally said, nah, the heck with that guy. Well, if I have to keep calling you to keep him honest, I'm just going to stay with you, and I'm going to get to my charity. The second is some people have a little blocking factor. Point of sale systems are set up now a lot to block out you changing your merchant account. And if your point of sale system does not allow you, the business owner, to change your merchant account whenever you like, you're paying through the nose. That's the dirty secret. You're paying too much. If I have to lock the door to keep you from leaving me, it's not a good relationship. But that's really not much. That's about 5% of the industry, and the rest is they don't know. And it sounds, I gotta tell you, we hear this every day. It sounds too good to be true. It sounds too good to be true. And we say we would agree, except for the millions of dollars that we paid out, that you want to start putting that in my pocket. My wife will not be upset about that. She'll say, what happened to all those charities, right? But no, they just don't know, which is, but we've got people like you, my friend, and you train people on something new all day long, right? And that's the whole point. You can do this. You've absolutely got the skill set. Here's another tool in your tool belt. Are you going to convert 100% of them? No. But that local nonprofit, all they did, they converted 19 businesses that they already had. Those guys were already giving to them. They just showed them the way, and all of a sudden, they've got a lot of money flowing in. I think they said that was about a third of the businesses that they found out in the meantime. A third flipped over, and let's go after the rest. No, we're we have plenty of money now. I hate that. I love it and I hate it.
Well, it's great to be off the rat race, the crazy cycle, running through that wheel. Like if you can build up monthly recurring donations, and if this is the first show you're listening to, just about every third show we talk about monthly recurring donations, how to create them, how to build them, how to sustain them. That's something that I do for people
Right.
because that's something that I care about. I don't want you fighting every month to make the dollars you need to take a half a breath while you sleep that night to get up the next month and do it again. I
Amen.
want you to focus on that thing that you care about, the thing that you've dedicated your life to, the group of whomever that you want to save, to rebuild, to connect, to whatever it is you're trying to do. We want that to be your focus, not where am I going to get $10 from? Am I going to get $10 from this guy? No, I guess I got to go
Right.
talk to someone else to get $10. What a huge pain in the rear end that is. Oh, but Travis, all of these other mentors have told me all this other stuff. And are they struggling every month? They are. Then maybe they don't have the answer you need. Maybe they don't know that they're in the crazy cycle and they're not doing it any other way because that's just the way they've done it. That doesn't mean they're right. That doesn't mean you have to follow them. Doesn't mean you have to follow me, but holy crap, can we agree that not having to solve the dollar equation each and every month would make your life easier, would give you more energy to put into the mission, would allow you to contact more people, build better relationships if you didn't have to figure out where you're getting that $9 from next month?
Right. Get off being on the mission, get in the mission. We want you in mission. The other thing about that is grants, and grants are great and they help a lot of people. But again, I told you this before. We were talking to a group and they were struggling to meet payroll, and their grant came in and they were high-fiving, they were jumping, all women. They got a $10,000 grant, and that was happy days. And they were jumping up, and one started weeping, literally weeping, because she finished reading it. Travis, it said, can only be spent on windows. That's not in mission. And it was great that we're going to have these really nice windows for when winter comes and we have no electricity or heat. We want as much natural light coming in, and when we're sitting around that candle. And luckily for us, that was that group I told you about, and they said, how can we spend this? Because that month they got from us a $4,000 check, and it took care of their bills, it took care of everything, and they're able to grow from there. Right. But they said, how are we allowed to spend this? I don't care. Put it in your general operating account, make it legal, have your board decide where the money goes. And as we tell the businesses to come on board that are referred by charities, right? We're saying, we don't micromanage your charity. You know what to do in your charity. You're out there doing it 70, 80 hours a week. I don't know. Nor do we allow the businesses that donate through us to micromanage you. We say, trust in your charity, give it to them freely. If you don't trust them, find a charity you do love and trust and give it to them. But I'm pretty sure these are the good guys, right? You were giving to them, you believe in them. Go team.
Yeah. Grants with strings attached, donors with strings attached. Oh yeah, I'll agree to give this money if I can come on and be, the president of your board and then dictate everything that happens from here on out. No,
I've never heard of that one. That's that's a darker even scenario than I've imagined.
That's on the show House. They have the president of the board of directors for the hospital, House MD, and he comes in with a generous donation, then takes over and then tries to bulldoze everyone in the organization and getting what he wants and they're stuck doing it because he's giving so much money. Think about investors in business that want to have their hands in the cookie jar. Think of the grants that you get for 10 grand that come in and says for windows only. Say no to this restricted giving stuff. Sign up with Will. I'm going to have a link in the show notes where you can schedule time with Will learn more about what sharing the credit does directly with Will, and then figure out how you can move forward. It costs you nothing as a nonprofit. I bring tons of zero cost solutions and people still won't do them. It costs you nothing but a phone call. See how this is going to work in your world. And then will explain how to weave this into the communications you're already doing to get people interested. It costs you nothing to do. And the businesses wouldn't say yes if it wasn't a great deal for them.
It's got to be a win for everybody.
It's got to be a win for everybody. Those don't exist too much in this world. So when we actually find them, we love to promote them. Wins for everybody. Get on a call. What's the best place to find you, Mr. Wizard of Cause?
That old joke. Okay. Obviously the website, sharingthecredit.com, but they can always call us at 877-201-7215. We are always there. We speak English. I don't, but we speak Spanish as a family. We have a Spanish speaking arm. So if you need something more in your mother tongue, we are there to help you. But at the end of the day, that's right. Unrestricted funds, capital U. Don't don't get only for Windows money. Get it for whatever money. Printer, ink, gas for the van. We don't care as long as you and your board votes on it. It is the same as a cash donation. And Travis, you know what else that means? That means use our reports, use them, you get them right for the companies that are giving through you, and reward and recognize those donors, right? So if you have, remember, I'm running a financial relay race, and I'm handing off a baton in that financial relay race. As I like to tell people, this is not my money. I'm not a socialist. This business over here, they're giving you this money. They're just giving it through me, and you'll have a record of that. So if you have a bronze level, a donor, a silver level donor, a gold level is, whether it's $1,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a year, and you're in the founder circle, there's 100 different, variants of that, right? As we say, recognize those people. If you ever lose the reports, our reports go back to the beginning of time. Give. Recognize those people. If you give out plaques or little crystal trophies, recognize them. They often bring in more businesses for you. I had a guy call me, and unfortunately, his nonprofit, a very worthy group, not really accountants and stenographers, they weren't good at this one yet. And he said, "Can you tell me how much I've given to date?" And we said, "Sure, it's going to take about 3 minutes, maybe 4. You want to sit on the line? You want us to call you back?" And he said, "No, I'll sit there." They go through it and they pull it up and they said, "Okay, sir, his name is Charlie." They said, "Charlie, you've been with us right over 5 years, and your total to date, as of the last check that went out, is a grand total of $41,800 and some change, in which there's then a drop, as I like to say, a whole kerfuffle, if you weren't expecting the Scottish to come in there." He says, and they say, "Charlie, are you okay?" And he says, "I'm sorry, I dropped my phone. Would you repeat the number?" And they said, "Yes, 41,800 and some change." And they read it out to him. And he says, "My gosh, man." And they said, "Sir, is there something wrong?" And he said, "No, I thought it was going to be like $2,000 or $3,000. And they said, "You got a good business and you've been here for 5 years. We're very sorry. You're owed about 5 plaques, from your organization. They're going to stack up when they do come in." We say, recognize these guys, these men, these women, they give to you. They know you. That woman, she made the scales fall from my eyes when she said, "Will, my work isn't the only thing that inspires me." Recognize them. She would probably bring it. That guy could have brought in 4 or 5 or 10 more businesses and be a note the whole time. He just didn't know.
What a great place to leave off, to know that you can give far more than you originally thought possible and save money at the same time if you're a small business owner or whatever size business owner, let's be honest. And you can give out of the back end that you got to pay anyway to that cause that you already support.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being my guest today, Will. Those that are listening to the show, grab that link, get time with Will, figure out what this might look like in your world. And if you end up calling them and go to the website, let them know that Travis sent you over, and we'll all have a lot of fun sharing the credit.
Thank you, Travis.